I went to Cuba to see how the country's people relate to American culture ahead of President Obama's historic visit. This is my debrief.
I think when he invited us, it's just like he said, there's this myth of Cuba as the authoritarian, dictatorial regime with the old cars. And I don't think they see that, although that's true. I mean, when you go there, that's what you notice. But I think he thought, much like when you do go there, you see a young population that's very pro-American, and you see a beautiful country, and there is a hypnotism around Cuba, and you do get sort of drugged by it. And I think, he thought we were going to go there and be like, oh, wow, Cuba's amazing, Buena Vista Social Club. For us, it was just more of, how did Cuba get to where it is? We know how America got to where it is with the Obama doctrine, but Cuba, it was more cultural. So they have an exchange of information, and they know what it's like to live in America. So that was very interesting to see. So I think that the overall argument is political in nature. You have hawks and doves, or perceived hawks and doves. The hawks saying embargo/sanctions have worked. They've worked in Iran, they've worked against Russia, they've worked against Cuba, and we should not engage, we should just keep sanctioning them, and eventually they'll crumble. The problem is Iran hasn't crumbled since 1979, Cuba hasn't crumbled in over 50 years, obviously Russia has not crumbled, so that hasn't worked. So the Obama doctrine is, well, hey, let's go talk to these people, let's engage. And the other side is saying we shouldn't. The problem is, let's say the Castro regime does collapse. What happens then? Because if you look at where we're successful, quote unquote, in Iraq, having regime change there, or in Libya, both are now strongholds of ISIS. So if you don't have dialogue, if you don't have a plan, then you're just left with a vacuum. While we were there, we saw that they're expanding their port facilities for shipping. Actually, when we were there was a port with all American employees to get their information on boats because they are already planning this huge influx. But they don't have a lot of restaurants. Those restaurants don't have a lot of food. There's a lot of illegal currency trading. The hotels, the majority of them are sort of substandard. There's a few that are run by the military that are, tourist hotels. People are going to look back on the old Havana or the old Cuba that was crumbling and beautiful and crazy, and they're going to say, oh, that was great, which it is. Not necessarily great for the people of Cuba, but great as a tourist. And I think that the influx of cash will be a double-edged sword, because the beautiful old Cuba is going to go away, and it'll be replaced with brand hotels and McDonald's, and you look like a little America, and that probably will be sad.